Tresor, thanks very much for being with us today. I do appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much. It's really great to be here.
So it seems like this has been a big year for you. You won your third Sama, third studio album is out, your production company is doing amazing things, but it hasn't always been this way for you. Tell us a little bit about how you came to be in South Africa. Where are you from?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm originally from the DRC Congo, in a very small city called Goma. The region is known for a lot of armed conflict and child soldiers and just a lot of trouble with rebels. And I've been living in South Africa for the last 10 years. I moved here as a refugee around in 2008. And I pretty much take pride in where I come from. And it's a beautiful, beautiful big family. And it was just amazing growing up in Goma until I think the Rwandan genocide happened around that time, 1994, where I think a lot of our lives as kids really changed. We started to look at life very differently because we are not playing in the streets freely as before, because a lot of maybe dead bodies on the street. It was just a very different era for all of us. I believe most of us dealt with the trauma very, very late.
Yeah.
I had really hardworking middle-class parents that really did the very best to make sure we had a decent living.
And so for you, when did music come into your life? Was that one of the ways that you coped with some of the trauma?
Most definitely. I think music for me has been a massive, massive escape or a tool to deal with a lot of the trauma that I had as a kid.
With the influx of refugees, I believe I read somewhere that there were about 1 million refugees in Goma alone. What did you pick up from them? Did you pick up language, other types of musical instruments? What was it like interfacing with people from that region?
I think the most incredible positive thing that came out of the whole situation is that I got to meet most of my childhood friends. There were a lot of kids, refugee kids that didn't really have any food or were homeless, that literally, you'll be in your house, there'll literally be like 100, 200, 300 people, literally. It was crazy. Like when I think about it, like imagine the street outside filled with like 1,000 people. Cooking on the side of the road, sleeping on the side of the road. Now, when you're conscious and you know that you have maybe a little bit more to be able to give to others, so that's what our parents taught us. We got to spend a lot of time with new kids from Rwanda, and we didn't understand each other. But over time, we started to play on the street together, and over time, they got integrated in society. The parents got jobs. We all became some of the best friends. Some of my friends maybe married a girl that they met from, it just became a whole, and it really is beautiful. I mean, when you look at the story, it's really an incredible story.
It really is an incredible story.
Yeah.
So you are in this situation where you're growing up in this particular context, lots of refugees. Your parents teach you to really share and to interact and engage with other people. And then unfortunately, your parents passed away quite young. And a few years after that, you end up in South Africa. Why South Africa of all places?
I think coming to South Africa, I always call it a beautiful accident. Because I never really intended to come as a young kid. I was young, I was naive, I was very adventurous, and I was traveling from Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Malawi. And I'm grateful that I ended up here because I love the culture of the music, I love the people, I love diversity, and everything really shaped the music that I make and the young global African man that I am, and for me, I'm proud of the decision I made to be here and to be part of a whole new generation of creatives that are pushing the narrative and just taking it to the next level.
Well, first of all, how did you get here?
That's a whole crazy story, but it's a series of hitchhiking, walking for hours and days and kilometers. It's normally, let's say it's about a 4-hour flight, but it took me about almost 3 months to get here. Hitchhiking, a lot of walking and running, not to be caught by border patrol. Yeah, pretty much. It was crazy.
You said that you were very young when you did that. How old were you?
I was about 18, 19.
Yeah, so very young. What was your intention in coming to South Africa?
I think as I grow older, not just as an artist, just as a young African man, I get to value more what's my purpose and what's my duty to my people. And I'm not just talking about the people from my hometown where I come from. I'm talking about the city, the country, and the continent as well. I feel we all have a role to play, and we get given talent or certain gifts for us to be able to empower people with wherever we go. Being a musician or being a successful musician does not really make you a better person than the next. It just, for me, it's an avenue or a tool to use to actually empower, uplift people wherever I can. So for me, I think the music has been a really great platform, not just to speak. I mean, I work with the UNHCR as a refugee ambassador to try and change the narrative because I'm a refugee myself. Although I have my papers, I still came to South Africa as a refugee, you know. But also I have this massive passion to be able to help change the health system in Congo and around Africa, the education, especially for me. I think I'm passionate about leadership in Africa because I believe the youth will be able to change the narrative of leadership in Africa.
How did you manage to hold on? You said you came as a refugee. You described taking 3 months for what would normally be a 4-hour plane ride, not speaking English, not having a lot of resources. How did you sustain yourself when you first arrived?
Each community is in, I think, wherever you go around the world, they have their own, I don't know what you call strengths. Like people from Ghana, they run small shops that do cell phones and sweets. Like they have their own. People from Congo cut hair in their car guards, and people from, I'm talking about young people where they start.
The networks that different communities have.
And people from Ethiopia will sell blankets, or people from Somalia will sell blankets and have small spaza shops and stuff. So when I got to, I don't know how to cut hair, so I just did the easiest job that I could, which was being a car guard and security guard. So I had to look after people's cars, and by nights look after people's houses, and that pretty much what I did for a living. And that used to give me about $2,500 a month, which was enough to pay my rent in a room that I used to share with other 10 occupants from Congo. And I also spent half of my salary on an internet cafe trying to connect everybody and ATM pretty much. And where I can, I'll send a little bit of it because at that time it was quite a lot of money. I had enough to send a little bit of it at home. Yeah.
What made you not give up, though? It couldn't have been easy. You're sharing a room with all these people, trying to make it in the music industry. What kept you going day after day?
I think what really kept me going at that time is the strong desire to really spark a new sense of hope in my people back home. And that was really what still keeps me going, because I personally believe I'm right at the starting tip of my journey. Personally, I believe if you strongly believe in your dreams or strongly have a very strong understanding of your purpose, you gotta hold on until the doors open, until everything comes together, because eventually it does. When you keep knocking on the wall and knowing that you're doing right, you're putting all your efforts in the right places. I think what really helped me cope is that I made peace very early in my life that I want to do this music thing whether I succeed or not. It's my passion, what I love, and I asked myself, would I be okay spending my life being unsuccessful but doing what I love? And as soon as I answered that question, I just had peace about it. So I just, every single day, up until today, for the last 10 years, I make sure I do, even when I'm really sick in bed or with flu or I'm fed up or I'm tired, I have to make a step or take a step toward my dream every single day. There's no exception. There's no single day where I don't take a step. be it a call, an email, be it an exercise. There's not a single day. So it's a gradual thing, but I've been building it for years, and I believe we're close.
Tresor, one of your big projects at the moment is Jackal Music. Tell me a little bit about how that speaks to your dreams and goals for the future.
Yes, thank you. I run a very, it's still small for now, entertainment company which has divisions in publishing, management, and record label. And the vision for me is to empower young, exceptional African creatives from Africa to global stage. And I've taken about 2 years to put the right structure, so I have a partnership with Universal Music Group in Africa. I've just signed a new partnership for management for them, so I can focus on everything that I do, and they have someone that's really solely focused on them. My dream for them is to really go out there and be great artists around the world, because I believe when given a chance, opportunity, or light like I've been given, it's my duty to be able to pass it on, because we all have our own moment to shine, and it's even our lights even shine brighter when we pass it on to other people, So
I hear you say 3 things that are really critical. One is understanding your purpose and not allowing anyone to define that for you, but to define it for yourself. The second is staying focused on what your goals and objectives are. And in your case, your goal and objective is really to improve the quality of life for people at home in DRC, but it also seems to create a new model of leadership for people across the continent. And then thirdly, to be persistent, and basically every day just to put one foot in front of the other. So having done all that for the past 10 years, how do you, Tresor, at this point in your life, define what it means to be successful?
I think for me, I've always believed living your life fulfilled is the most successful thing any human can ever do.
Definitely. If there's a young person right now who might be sitting in Dar es Salaam or Durban, and they're thinking that sounds wonderful, but I have no idea what my purpose is, how would you advise them to go about finding that purpose?
The crazy thing about purpose and our journeys, they are so different, and that's beautiful, Every single body, we all succumb to pressures from society. We all succumb to pressure, be it financial, be it pace-wise. Why are you 45 years old and you don't own a house, you're not married, you got no kids? Why are you 21 years old and you're still doing high school? Why are you this old? Why? And I feel we all succumb to pressures of society. And I personally believe you need to own your journey. You need to own it. And you need to have, with no excuses, without feeling ashamed of it. Because we're here, 1 minute we're here, 1 minute we're not here. And that for me hits me every day. I think it's like my favorite thing at the moment, where if you understand that this journey that you're traveling is yours, and that we all have a very limited time here on this experience that we're having on the planet, then you're gonna go out there and be good to yourself. Don't harm yourself, don't harm yourself mentally because you're trying to pressurize and trying to catch up on whatever the world is doing. I think you're just gonna focus on yourself, be kind to yourself, and really, in the same time, push yourself to find what is it that really takes you and makes you light up. What is the purpose? It takes time sometimes for some people. Other people are really just from the time they're very young, hey, you're a good actor. It takes time for people, but it does not make the next person better either. Whoever find them at 8 years old, if you find them at 65, that you really want to be a ballet dancer, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you need to live it fully.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Tresor, and for sharing so many of your truths with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been great being here.